I'm Albert Lawrence, and I'm so amped that right now we are about to get into some really, really fun stuff on the Coke Scholars Instagram live feed. I see a Caramel Eyes 34 just joined. Listen, documentary. Jamie's in the house. What's up, folks? So we're going to give everybody just a couple of seconds, maybe a couple of minutes to join on in this live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, we're gonna have an incredibly special scholar. I'm not talking about me, I'm not that special. This scholar that's gonna be coming on to talk with us today is Juliana Tafur, and she is a documentarian, she is a journalist, she is just a major change agent as well too. So as everyone is joining on in, once soon as Juliana gets here, we're going to invite her into the chat, and we're going to talk about the new Coke Scholars podcast. For short, we call it the SIP because it's Coke Scholars Ignite podcast. All of you who are joining on in there, you know what it is to ignite things. I see Kofi is in the house too. Oh, this is awesome. Just seeing so many names from people who we've seen come on in, who I've seen during different Scholars Weekends. I've seen you on the Coke Scholars Facebook pages. Carolyn Norton just jumped on in here. We know that Carolyn's always going to be in the mix because she's really dedicated to us Scholars alum. Lauren O'Brien, I know, is also jumping on in here. So actually, here we go. So Listen Documentary just sent a request. So this means our special guest. Let's see if technology is on our side. Shall it be on our side? Waiting. So by the way, here we, yes!
We did it!
Yes! Oh my gosh! Every time tech works, we must celebrate because it's not a given. What's up, Juliana?
We're here.
We are so here. So, and so far we have 20 folks who have joined on in this IG Live. These are the people who knew what's up. They probably set a calendar reminder to tell them to jump on.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes. So here we go. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to get started now because people are here. And by the way, the good thing is that everything that we're doing right now is also going to be saved. So we're going to save this as soon as we finish so that people who want to replay everything that happened here will get a chance to do it. I believe it'll be posted on the Coke Scholars Facebook page. So let's just go ahead and start rocking this thing. So I'm Albert Lawrence. Hello, everybody. We've got 23 people in the house right now. So I'm very excited because what we're going to be talking about today is partially the new Coke Scholars podcast. This has been a long time in the coming. I know that the Coke Scholars team has been working feverishly on this project. So Lauren O'Brien, I know, has been a huge lead on this, Carolyn Norton as well, and just so many different brains have gone into creating this. So Juliana and I have the opportunity to share with you on the very first podcast. So this is the premiere. I'm just asking some questions during this episode. Juliana is sharing her life. So Juliana, why don't you go ahead and give us a little introduction? Let everybody know who you are.
Sure. By the way, love that jacket.
Ah, thank you. A little song.
So, I'm excited to be here. I'm honored to have been invited as the first guest of the Coke Scholars podcast. There's 6,000 of us.
Amazing.
So all bright and incredible individuals, and I just can't wait to hear everyone that comes after. I am a filmmaker. I'm a documentarian. I'm a TV producer. I produced and directed a film called Listen, which brings together people who are on opposite ends of the spectrum to have them truly hear each other out, connect at a human level, and transcend differences. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about that and also a little bit about my trajectory and my experience as a scholar and all the amazing people that I've been in touch with and touched by at the Coke Scholars Foundation.
That's fantastic. And so I want to start off by letting everyone know that if your curiosity is piqued at all about Juliana, just even from her intro that she just gave herself, then you will be happy to know that you can go ahead and listen to the podcast episode that features her in an even longer, awesome format. That's available right now. So if you go to whatever your podcast player is, whether it's Stitcher or Google, if you're Apple, all you've got to do is go on your search bar and search for Coke Scholars Ignite. You will find the Coke Scholars Ignite podcast. And then also, if you head on over to the website, so you can just go to Coca-Cola Scholars Foundation.org, you'll be able to find it up there as well, too. So, Juliana, 2003 scholar, fellow 2003 scholar. Yes,
You
yes,
and I?
yes. Right. So we were talking a little. Justin Pearson's in the house, by the way. So Justin Pearson, you will hear his voice at the beginning of every single Coke
Yes.
Scholars podcast. Way to go, Justin. Thank you, man. You and I, 2003 was actually a very different kind of scholars weekend than what the new scholars have now. And we were just talking about this recently. Tell everybody, for those of us who are newer scholars versus some of the classic scholars, what's one of the main differences that you and I were talking about in between, like what happens during Scholars Weekend versus what happens now?
Yeah, well, we used to have an interview during Scholars Weekend, and it was like formal and a little bit intimidating. And when we got to Scholars Weekend, like we had to take like our best wardrobe and put on our best face, and
Yeah.
and it was exciting, definitely. But we were competing for more money
Right.
to go to college, and so now it's different because you guys are all honored with the same amount, which is nice because it takes the edge off the table. You don't have to. I guess you've already shown your best face, so when you get there you just enjoy, right?
Exactly. And it's funny because I remember during that weekend it was so much fun to get a chance to connect with fellow scholars, but like you said, at the same time we were kind of looking over our shoulders a little bit like, oh gosh, this scholar is so awesome. I don't know if I'm gonna get this. I don't know if I'm gonna get this extra money.
Awesome, right?
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then also, I remember during our interviews that we had during that weekend, there was a moment where they looked down. I must have put something on my application about liking to sing. And then they specifically asked me about singing during that portion of the interview. And I was like, I mean, just karaoke. Like, I'm not, but nowadays, I'm sure we've got, like these concert level, people who play like instruments, vocalists, all sorts of musicians that are like serious. So my karaoke wouldn't even hold a flame to anything like that.
Hey,
right?
Be glad they didn't make you stand up in front of everyone to get that.
Oh my God. Right. I mean, I'm so glad they didn't make me do that weekend. Later on, they called that card out. But anyway, so Juliana, you have done, speaking of, having to do things very impromptu and having to present yourself immediately. And Together Forever, Carolyn just posted that. That was a theme that I got called back for. You, as a journalist, have had some incredible experiences. Please share with us some of the wild things that you've had a chance to encounter as you've been out in the field.
Yeah, well, I was excited to share one of them at the podcast that you guys can go listen to. It was at Guatemala City, where I had to cover a bizarre story about trash divers. And then I guess that's one of several really that have marked and made an impact in my career. This one series that I was documenting while I was living in Latin America and working as a producer and director, I got a chance to do something that was really cool, which I never thought I would have done, but it was also slightly creepy. I had to go to Colombia and document an exorcism, and that was pretty wild.
An exorcism?